What is up, metalheads? What is up? It is Heavy Metal Pokemon here, bringing you our semi-final battle versus UltraPlayer and his New York Metagross. We faced him in week 10, and we took a nice L. We played really bad, and we could have brought it back if we, played a little better. So this time we're gonna really focus on our win condition, which is Mega Pidgeot. It really just dominates his team. So we're going to try and focus on that and hopefully not lose that going forward. The team that we're bringing Starmie, Chestnut, Arcanine, Mega Pidgeot, Tapu Koko, and Claydol. Kind of a bunch of standard sets. Starmie's like a Life Orb, 3 attack set with Recover. Chestnut is kind of our wall to Venusaur, because he really can't do much to us. Giga Drain's not going to do much. So I can kind of set up my hazards and then just kind of sit there in front of him. And then I can kind of punch him, and he's just going to waste moves in front of me is what he's going to do. So that's that. Arcanine is like a specially defensive attacking monster. Pretty much that way I can come in and get a cleanup kill on Kyurem or take on the Ribombee. So that's pretty cool. Can also take out the Skarmory and the Manectric for us as well if we needed to. So that's pretty neat. We have Mega Pidgeot. Like I said, this thing is pretty much our win con. Pretty much just grabs the KO almost all the times it comes in. Hurricane is really spammable. This match, I think the only thing it resists is the Manectric, and Kyurem takes about half if he's not any kind of bulk. So Tapu Koko is can take on the Kyurem for us, depending on what kind of Kyurem he is. Takes on the Skarmory for us, can take out that Slow King for us, and can also take out the Ribombee, so that way it doesn't get up webs if we needed to. And then we have Claydol, Rapid Spin, Stealth Rocks, Ice Beam, and Grass Knot. Just kind of lets me take on a couple of his threats. Lets me hit the Kyurem a little bit. Lets me, just kind of get damage on stuff. He does have access to Rhyperior, which he brought last time. He chose not to bring it this time. It looks like he opted Rhyperior or Venusaur for Rhyperior this match, which worked out really well in my favor. If I play this out right, we're in a really good spot. We don't have to worry about a Rindo Berry, Stone Edge, or something like that for Mega Pidgeot. But let's get right into the battle, guys. And we'll kind of see how this goes. So my best lead is Tapu Koko. Can kind of lead stuff. Kind of depict how the match goes. Now here, seeing that he leads Kyurem, I probably should have guessed that he was Scarf. And so I should have really made a double here. So we do see that he is Scarf. He does go first. He has Earth Power, but I am AV, so I can take this. But holy cow, that does a heck of a lot. So he is a modest Scarf from that damage. We're going to go ahead and Dazzling Gleam. That's going to do about half. So that means Hurricane is super spammable right here if he chooses to stay in. But he doesn't. He makes a nice double. I should have actually stayed in, predicting that double, seeing that Mega Pidgeot was a super obvious play there. Should have predicted that double. I could have Thunderbolted and got rid of this stupid thing right here once and for all. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two is me in the front office really didn't see this coming. Nature Power, Ribombee. Goodbye, Mega Pidgeot. We really should have seen that coming, and had we known, I would have probably ran Protect over a move. Probably over my Hidden Power. So that was bad. Here I should have just Dazzling Gleam, seeing that he was going to switch out. So I do go ahead and just Dazzling Gleam. It should do about half. But we do see this thing is Assault Vest, so that does literally 0. It's in a Signal Beam, making a prediction that I switch to Clay Doll. So I'm going to go ahead and U-turn here because this is a non-favorable matchup for me. That does a heck of a lot, which is awesome. So we're going to go out into our Arcanine here. Then we can just pick him off with an extreme speed from this range after taking a little T-Bolt. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to Thunderbolt. That does a heck of a lot because he is at +1. But we're pretty def, varianted. So we'll go ahead and we'll extreme speed here. Boop, 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 boop. That takes that out. Getting some nice leftover recovery here. He's going to go into his Pantless here. Perfectly fine with me. I'm going to make a double here into Turkey Slayer. He could Side Shock here, but it's kind of a play I have to make. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to get a crit, and that's fine. Doesn't really matter as long as he didn't get the burn, which is okay. So I see he's got to switch out here, so I'm going to go ahead and throw up a layer of spikes. He's going to go out into his Dynablade. Now I EV'd this Turkey Sub to Turkey Slayer to outspeed this Skarmory here. So I'm going to go ahead and go crazy and taunt. So we're going to play mistake number 3 here after the taunt. I'm going to stay in. Not sure what I thought was going to happen. But I'm going to stay in. I'm going to Thunder Punch. What I really should have done is just gone to Arcanine, and then I could have just, done some. I could have Morning Sun and been back at full, and then I could have taken this thing out with a flamethrower or Flare Blitz. So I'm gonna go into Kokohana here. This thing is weakened. Thunderbolt is pretty spammable. So we'll go ahead and we'll just take out this thing with a Thunderbolt. He can't Roost, he can't Defog. So that Spike's here to stay, which is really good. So Coco getting a kill this game, unlike last game where it did not get any kills. So he's going to go out into his Kyurem Black here. That's perfectly fine. Getting him weakened. We're going to go ahead and switch out here. Going to go out into my Arcanine. I figured he would Ice Beam and not Earth Power. So I figured this would be the best bet. I could then heal up, and then I could go ahead and Bulldoze, and then, been in a really good spot. But that's not the case, so he does Earth Power, so I'm going to go out into this, because Earth Power is not going to do a lot to me, since he's not locked into Ice Beam. Because of Terra Volt, he still hits me. So you go out into the Ribombee, perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and just Ice Beam, so I have my best move that I have. He's going to lock himself into Moonblast, that's perfectly okay. This is where having the what's it called, the Arcanine would be good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up some Stealth Rocks here. Just because I know I can take a few hits from this thing. It's very weak, even with specs. It has enough power to kill my Pidgeot, because Pidgeot's a glass cannon, which really sucks. Moonblast would not have killed from that range. And he has to be Timid Specs to outspeed me. So the Nature Power was a really good bring. And like I said, had me in the front office known, we would have ran Protect to scout for it. And then we could have made plans, moves accordingly. But so we go into this here. We can just go ahead and get rid of this with a nice Thunderbolt. Kyurem Black is dead on entry. But I need to make a play here, and it does not work out. Had I had Volt Switch, I would have been in a really good spot here, because I would have actually had my Shuriken in full health, and I would have been able to take on the thing much better. But now I have to take. Now I lose my shuriken because I needed to make a play. Because either way, he goes out into Venusaur and wins. But if I get shuriken out at full health, I win. So he doesn't know what my last move is. And on Z, Brave Bird might have been good. But the problem is it doesn't do enough to make a Venusaur. It doesn't KO. It could KO at this range depending on what his spread is, but my thought is he would prep for that because in the beginning, if you don't remember what I was saying, I had 3 Z-Mons. Now I only have 1, so now I only have to prep for 1 Z move. So he scouts for that with the Protect, which is really nice. I only have 1 Z-Mon, so you can literally prep for any Z move. And Z Brave Bird is the best move that I have against this thing here. But I didn't bring it because the fact that I'm like, oh, he's going to prep for it, so I'm going to fall for that. Like, okay, it's here, we're going to go, you know. So I didn't bring it for the reason of, hold on. Darn, can't count him on the hamster cage. So I didn't bring Z Brave Bird for the reason that you know, even at that range, it possibly wouldn't kill. It was definitely a thought that crossed my mind. I'm like, yes, you should bring it. It's definitely a thing. But I'm like, I have Mega Pidgeot. I don't need the Z Brave Bird. Plus, you know, I need like a lot of attack investment. So, you know, it was really hard to justify bringing it because there's a lot of things. He brought the Protective Scout for it. So, you know, that would have wasted it. He could have built specifically to be like, because he doesn't need any special attack to kill me with a Sludge Bomb. He does 9 million damage no matter what. I don't even think I live with AV. So, you know, he could build specifically for all of these things with his Mega Venusaur. And Coco would still lose. It's a battle that I didn't want to have to face because really on my team, my only switch into Mega Venusaur is Arcanine. Because it can, deals with both moves. I needed to make that play at the end. I needed that U-turn. I needed it to kill. It did not, unfortunate, because if I Thunderbolted, I was in the same spot. I then lose my Coco to get a little bit of damage on the Venusaur. Now I could have been lucky. He could have protected and I could have doubled. That would have been a play. That would have been like a really big read that I'd have to know. And I probably should have done that. But I mean, hindsight's 20/20, and I wouldn't have expected that. My thought is Venusaur lives Supersonic Sky Strike almost every time, depending on his spread. He might have died from that range, depending, again. So, but that wasn't a risk that I felt I could take. So that was, that could have brought me back to the game, though, had I done that. So, it's a really tough game to play there. But also, if I didn't have that that HP investment in Tapu Koko, that Earth Power could have killed me. So, see, there's a lot of different things that kind of play into how things went, but because but I needed that. If I was Volt Switch, that'd have been fine. The only problem with Volt Switch is I had to hard switch against that, and I wouldn't got all that damage off. So then, you know, he wouldn't have been in extreme speed range from Arcanine. It's kind of where that's at. I probably could have bulldozed, but I don't think I wanted to take 2 Thunderbolts. So you see, the U-turn was needed for two Mons, the Manectric and the Rhyperior. And I mean, I think we played well after we made all the mistakes, but we just made too many mistakes in the beginning. We made all the mistakes right in the beginning. Had we played the game right, we'd have been in a really good spot, because he wouldn't have been able to go Ribombee against my Mega Pidgeot, but he had a free switch into Ribombee. You know, and his Kyurem would have taken about half from my Hurricane, so it wouldn't want to stay in. Plus, it was locked into Earth Power. He couldn't really go into anything, so he'd have to go like Skarmory and then sack Skarmory, pretty much, or just play around me a bunch. Most likely probably would have gone actually a Manectric, but then, you know, I can get the Hurricane off, and then I can switch to Claydol. You probably would have made that play, which, I mean, that's perfectly fine, but you know, we're especially defensive, so, you know, the game would have put us in a different spot. But instead, this is where we are. So we do end our IBL season with no championship because we played bad. That's it, guys. Be sure to answer the question of the day. What is your favorite part or favorite moment from our IBL Season 5 run? I unfortunately don't really have one, because a lot of our games were forfeit wins, because that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Like, but yeah, let me know your favorite Colorado Mammoth moment down in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for tomorrow. We do have another update coming out, so be in tune for that. But as always, bros, keep gaming.
You're a memory I can't lose. I'll hold on to you.